What's going on? It's Fire with Dad. What's up,
Fire
Dad?
with Dad, baby.
So I am hanging poolside today.
I can tell by the background.
Tell by the background, I was out there, but it's the sun sometimes on the computer screen makes you work your eyes a little harder. So I came in here. I'll go back out there after this. So, how's your day?
Fantastic. Did two networking groups and did about 2-3 coaching sessions, and I'm great shape.
So I want to talk about a topic. I made a post about a picture earlier. My hood's all jacked up. About controlling your destiny. You've been an entrepreneur since like what, 1823?
A little bit before me and Jesus were kind of entrepreneurs together.
Because you started entrepreneurship back in the 70s, right?
Yeah, 72.
72. So I think a lot of my mindset and how I've done things is, I would imagine, is influenced by that, because as a child, you could, whenever we wanted to go somewhere, you could go. Whenever you needed to be in practice, you could be there. You were never dictated for the most part that, hey, you got to be at this place at this time, this day, right?
No, I actually sponsored 4 baseball teams, went to every single one of your games. I actually helped coach your football peewee games, and I also helped coach your high school football team.
So a bird just walked up to me with a worm. That was pretty funny. He walked up, looked at me, and then took off that way. But you had the opportunity to control your destiny. I think.
Correct.
I made a post earlier today. I posted a picture of me by the pool working on my laptop. And the reason I posted it was I've been posting the same picture at this pool for the last 4 years. I've been posting similar pictures for 12 to 13 years. I've worked. I mean, I've had a job in radio for a couple years out of college, then started an entrepreneur, started with you and Sam at the boat dealership. But for the most part, I've always been self-employed. And I think that I would imagine a lot of people right now are at home because they're working from home, because their companies are closed, all that good stuff. I would hope they're appreciating that freedom that they're getting with their kids waking up in the morning, seeing them. Like I saw Cole this morning. I was on the back porch chilling out, drinking coffee. I see Cole walk down from bed, get his breakfast. I walked in and talked to him. I saw Paige like 3 times a day already. I've had that same thing since they were little. I would imagine a lot of people right now are getting that in their life for the first time ever. And the unfortunate reality is that in about 3 to 4 weeks, they got to go back to the office. Now, maybe they want to go back to the office, but for people that don't want to go back to the office, Dad, for people that look at this, it's like, wow, this was new for me. I get to be home. I get to control when I go places, what I do. I see my family. What can you say to people to get their mindset shifted, that instead of working inside an office in a cube for somebody they don't want to work for, someplace they don't want to work, how can they go on their own? How can they make that mindset shift set, that change, that they can go do their own thing?
The key, the entrepreneurship is one thing. You got to be willing to lose. Okay, if you're not willing to lose, it's like the old Kenny Rogers thing: know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You know what? I got to know when to bet. You're gambling. I mean, one day I was a millionaire. The next day,
I thought know when to walk away. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Right?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't remember.
He died a few weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah, I loved him.
Yep. Well, you didn't love his songs good enough because you just jacked it all up. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, the thing is that one day you're rich, one day you're poor, but you got to understand that when you go into business on your own as an entrepreneur, every day's a change. Every day's you got to adapt every day. Something new is going to happen. There's going to be some new trial or tribulation that's going to happen. You got to learn how to handle that, and you can't get frustrated. You can't get all shook up. You got to be even keeled, and you got to be within yourself, and you got to handle the problems. And most people don't have the psyche to do that, and that's why people work for somebody else, because somebody else is willing to do that. But every small businessman, the ones who make it are the ones who understand that they've got to be willing to lose, because you're going to lose. Some days you're not going to win, and you can't get all upset. I use the word all the time that I'm fantastic, and people say, how in the hell are you fantastic every single day? I had an attorney walk up to me about 3 months ago before this thing started at Panera. He says, because he sees me all the time. And he says, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm fantastic." He sits down. He says to me, "How in the hell are you fantastic every single damn day?" I says, "Because I don't have any other choice but to be fantastic." I says, "Because guess what? Okay, if I'm not fantastic, I'm not making any money. If I'm not making any money, I'm poor."
Okay, so there's obviously a lot of mindset involved, but
Tremendous.
I'm curious also, like, do you think people that are, let's take a normal person, a normal person. Hey, mom, we can see mom.
Hi.
Feliz Navidad.
Merry Christmas.
Mom.
Okay. So,
we growed up.
Yeah. So apparently mom is celebrating Christmas, and
every day is Christmas for mom.
There we go. So let's just take the normal person. I think I would imagine the normal worker in an office and a lot of these businesses makes 40 to 50 grand a year. They probably take home net 20 to 25 after it's all said and done. It's not that hard to make 20 to 25 grand as an entrepreneur every year. If you can find a way to solve somebody's problem, if you can go out and clean decks, mow grass, childcare, walk dogs, do marketing.
Yeah, but most people can't handle the psyche, because now all of a sudden you're totally on your own. You're making your own decisions. You're deciding what you're going to do, when you're going to. A lot of people can't. I find this right now with my coaching. That I'm coaching entrepreneurs all the time. They have a tough time handling their schedule. They get. It cracks me up. I probably spend more time with people trying to help them solve their problem with their schedule than any other single thing besides the networking part.
Huh. Well,
because they're what are you doing today? Well, I don't know who to see. I don't know who to talk to. Okay, and I spend more time helping them get their schedule together and lining out who they're going to talk to, what they're going to say, when they're going to say it, and that's probably number one thing. Is people, unless you're an entrepreneur and you're used to being on your own and making your own decisions, and you're your own boss. A lot of people are taking orders from other people, and all of a sudden you're down, not taking orders from anybody. Now what the hell do you do? That's why one of the problems before was working from home. Before was people would go home and work from home, and they'd play with the dog, play with the kids, play with the wife. Okay, go outside in the pool, and they wouldn't get any work done because all the outside distractions they didn't fill their calendar.
I'm the opposite. When I'm home, I work more. I mean, if I go to the office downtown, I'm in a little bit. I get a little off my schedule, and driving back and forth and things like that. If I'm here, I mean, there's days I'll get up at, like, I think this morning I was on my computer. I was on my phone at like 6:30 doing some work.
Oh, I had you beat.
Oh, of course, you're up at like 4 a.m. That's what you old dudes do. What time did you get up for BNI? 5:30?
Our meeting's at 7. So I got up at 5:30.
Oh, yeah, I just said 5:30. I should win a prize. I profiled you. But, I think working from home, I work more. But the one thing I've noticed too in talking to a lot of people during all these shutdowns, is that, like, I've got a lot of friends that work in the marketing world that want to be what I am, or sell marketing or sell some type of B2B service to a small business owner. The one thing I found out that they don't recognize, they don't know what it's like. I think that's one of the reasons I relate with a lot of owners. For example, I was talking to somebody this morning, and one of my employees made a comment about, he was surprised that this one client in particular, a couple clients hadn't gotten back. Hey, Matt, we've emailed them. We've put it in Workplace. We've asked the questions, and some of these guys aren't getting back with us. What do we do? And they said, should we just give up? I said, no. I said, you got to look at it this way. That particular person who he was talking about, like one of the people we talked about, I said, 2 months ago, he was running restaurants. Right now, he's working in the restaurants because all his part-time workers are gone, and they got one manager, two managers maybe. Somebody can't come in because it's
mopping the floor. Yeah.
So he's working in the business. I said he's working 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., gets home, wiped out, goes to bed, wakes up the next day, starts over. I said, so that's why he's not returning emails. I mean, we got to call him or text him or get a little more creative. But I think a lot of people don't understand. They see the sexiness of working from home now, or they're sitting by the pool. I had friends of mine for years have made comments because I'll post pictures of me working from California, Florida, Mexico, New York, wherever. And they're always like, oh, I want to do that. And I think they could if they just grinding it out, but a lot of them just don't know what it takes, like you said, to fail and also have nerves of steel. Because there's been days I've made a similar income outside of the last 3 years. I've made a similar income for my first 10 years in this business. And there were days where there was $5 in the bank account. There were days where there was 50 grand. It just depends what happens. And it doesn't really bother me.
I went on vacation one year for a week. And when I left, I had no money in a checking account, praying that someone would mail me a check. Okay.
I had that happen one time. We were leaving. Oh, when was it? We were leaving a couple years ago. It was probably 5-6 years ago. We were leaving to go on spring break. And I've never, and you're just like me, I've never been the greatest at managing cash flow. And that's one of the big things. I actually just am putting together a pretty cool little report for May and June to kind of understand where I'm at now in these new times and be smarter. But I was looking at it's funny you said that, because I thought of this probably about 2 or 3 months ago. Was we were getting ready to go on vacation for spring break. And the problem I have is I have a similar income every month, but sometimes I'll get ahead of myself and I'll pay off a bill, or I'll pay $5,000 to this credit card, or I'll pay this off, or I'll prepay something. And then I'll go, oh shit, there's $100 in the account. We got to leave on vacation tomorrow. And we don't use a lot of credit cards. I have a company credit card, but personally we don't. And I was like, oh wow. And sure enough, like the day we're leaving, I get a client that sends in a check, a big one. And I'm like, okay. And that, just caught me up. I had not managed it well, but I think that's also another element that people there's probably a big comfort level that people would have to get accustomed to managing their own 401k, their health insurance, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I was pretty lucky. When I first started my own business, first thing I hired was someone who could manage money, and he was basically my controller forever. In our store, in my insurance agency. But ever since I had my insurance business from 1972, I have hardly ever written a check. I've always had a controller writing my checks for both everything. Okay. In the retail store, we had a lady doing the accounting. We had a bookkeeper who helping her out. And I'm not a mathematician. I'm a salesman. And so, and Mom just yelled, "That's for damn sure." But you're right. I've never been good at handling money, but on the other hand, too, I've been very good at making money. Okay, I've always never really worried about where the money was coming from, because I knew in my own situation, okay, I had faith in my ability to sell. Tomorrow morning, I can make a sale, make up for whatever I lost or whatever. So I've never been worried about money, because I've always had a security blanket was me, my ability to create sales or create income, and that's important.
So the number one tip, I guess I'll say this to wrap this bad boy up, because you and I could talk this type of stuff all the time, is that when you watch this, if you're watching this is on Facebook, this is in one of the Facebook groups I manage for my clients. I put it in there so they can see this, because I think it'll be relative to their situation. If you're watching on LinkedIn, on YouTube, I have it on Twitter because you wanted it on Twitter, Dad. So it's on Twitter. I think you're the only person, you and Donald Trump are on Twitter. So apparently you must like it.
I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I've never posted on Twitter ever. I don't even know how to post
on Twitter.
I know, but I just asked you if you're putting it on Twitter. I've never posted on Twitter. I've shared and liked, but I've never posted ever. I don't even know how to.
You interact on Twitter, though. I got you.
Yeah.
So people that are watching this, the big thing I think that you got to get accustomed to is, like you said, the unknown, the fear of you got to be ready to fail, and you got to be ready to fail many times. But I'll say this: I think there's a big opportunity that if people could just kind of swallow that and maybe figure out a way to do it, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and there's going to be even more in the next 3 to 6 months, because I see people that I know that make, let's say, $40,000 a year. They're netting about 22 to 25 grand a year net. They're spending 2 hours of their day driving back somewhere. They're spending money to park in a garage downtown. They're spending money. You net it down, they probably made $15,000.
Well,
and to make $15,000 as a self-employed person, you could go mow grass, pressure spray sidewalks, clean houses. Like I saw one of my neighbor's house today, the side needs cleaning. By the way, if that's you, call BJ, David, Mella. They do that, Mella window cleaning. But you could go do those jobs and make double that money, do it when you want to do it, how you want to do it, and control your life.
Well, one of the things when I ran for state president of the JCs, when I was vice president, I did a lot of speaking all over the state, also the United States. And my main topic of my speeches were life is the opportunity to fail. And you got to be willing to face the fear of failure and be willing to fail, because guess what? If you don't fail, you're never going to succeed, because the way to succeed is you got to fail, because you got to understand what caused you to fail and then not be afraid of it. The fear of failure is probably the biggest doom for most people, but you can't be afraid of it, because life is the opportunity to fail. You know what? I can remember back when remember we had a 78 Jeep we had that
Yeah, CJ5 or CJ5. Yeah, it was
CJ 78. And I took it to the guy over in Erlanger to fix the lights, because the lights were all screwed up. Okay. The lights were coming on when I turned the ignition on. And so I took it over and I says, fix the electrical system. So about a month later, he finally gets the car done, and he looks at me and he goes, well, he said, I tried about 45 different things and nothing worked. So I failed about 45 times, but so I just said to hell with it. I pulled the whole electrical system out and put a brand new one in, and I won't charge you for the price for what it cost me, because I couldn't. You would never pay me. I said, okay, what do I owe you? So we negotiated a fee what I paid him. But the thing was, he failed 45 times trying to get the electrical system fixed on my 78 Jeep, because somebody had screwed it up somehow, and he ended up putting a brand new one in. The thing is, you just got to. Life is a bunch of failures. It's how you handle your failures. It tells you how successful you are. And to me, the personality of the person is determined by how he's overcome his failures. And life is the opportunity to fail. And I say the word opportunity, because without that opportunity, you can't succeed. And it defines who your personality is.
I love it. Well, there you go. That's how we'll wrap up this one. It's been 17 minutes. Life is the opportunity to fail. Embrace failure. Accept it. The more you accept it, the more you embrace it, the closer, the quicker, I guess, you get to winning. You're muted. You muted yourself. I don't know. He muted himself. There we go.
Automatically.
There you go. You're good. You're back now.
All right. Fantastic, baby. Cha-ching. Love you.
See you, Dad. Love you too. Bye.